Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this lumberjack baby shower themed cake. Before we get started, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for new videos every week. That being said, let's get started. I already have my 6-inch cake iced and covered in fondant. If you need to see how to do those steps, I'll link the videos below. To get the plaid design, I have a red, a darker red that I added a little bit of black to, and then just plain black fondant. I use my cutters to punch out a bunch of squares in each color, and then I'm going to start adding them to the cake in rows. The first row are black squares with the dark red squares, the black starting at the top, and then as I work my way down, I'm just making sure I'm keeping those in a straight line by using my fondant smoother. I don't have quite enough room at the bottom for a full square, so I'm just trimming that down to size. It does throw off the look a bit, but I am going to be covering this later, so I'm not too worried about it. And then the next row is the darker red with the lighter red. I'm using a little bit of shortening to attach each square, but you could also use some water or some piping gel as well. I repeated this pattern all the way around the cake, and I just made sure to continuously go back in with my fondant smoother, straighten my lines out. It wasn't totally perfect, but I was really happy with how it came out. For the top of my cake, I'm adding a wooden stump. I have done this design before on my channel. I will link that video below because it's step by step. For this one, I'm doing it just a smidge differently. I'm adding that light brown color all over the entire cake instead of just the top where the wood part would be poking out. And then I'm adding the lines on top for the rings and the tree and creating the bark texture. Before wrapping the bark texture around, I did rub the sides of my cake with shortening. You don't want to use water for this step because I want to be able to cut away some of that bark and not have it be stuck and color stain the lighter color underneath. I went ahead and doweled my cake and then added my 4-inch wooden stump right on top of there. I have this template of a bear I made for myself, and I've just rubbed the back of that with a little bit of shortening so it'll stick onto my top tier. With my X-Acto knife, I'm just first going to do a really shallow cut all the way around my template and then go back in and cut all the way through. Just be careful that you're not cutting through that lighter color underneath. Once I peeled away the excess, I went around the outside with my fondant tools just to clean it up and make sure I didn't lose the shape too much. To make sure it still had that wood texture, I used my fondant tool and just added a ton of lines. I'm using some color dust, so I wrapped the bottom of my cake with a little bit of saran wrap just to make sure that none of that dust made a big mess and the bottom tier was protected. With some brown color dust and a fluffy brush, I'm going over the entire top of the cake, and then around the edges and all the nooks and crannies, I'm taking a finer tip brush and just darkening that just to give it a little more dimension. I went over the bear as well, just concentrating the darkest color around the outside. I brushed some color into the nooks and crannies on the bark as well, and then this is what it looked like when I was done. I added a strip of black fondant going all the way around the bottom of the cake. And then grabbing my fondant tool, I'm just pressing in lines all the way along that strip. Using a black edible food marker on all of the darker red squares, I'm going to add a couple of lines just to really complete the plaid look. To make my buttons, I'm mixing together some brown and white fondant, just enough so that you can still see streaks of color. I want it to have also like a wood grain type of thing you see on a lot of plaid shirts. And then using my piping tip, I cut out a couple of circles, indented the center with my balling tool, and then added 4 holes in each one. I added those down the middle of my cake, just making sure there was a little bit of room at the top. I added 2 strips of black on either side for the suspenders, and then cut out 2 squares of brown fondant and just rounded off the edge with my piping tip. I added those at the very end of each suspender and then popped a button into the center of each side. I made a really simple bow by cutting out this long rectangle shape. I pinched it in the middle and then on either side, and I'm just bringing those ends into the middle and covering the center with another strip of black fondant. I brushed the back of that with a little bit of water and then popped that right above my buttons. To make the baby shoe, I rolled out some brown, but you'll see later that I decided that the look just wasn't jiving for me, so I actually changed to like a cream color. But I have these 2 pieces of the template, I'll link below, and I cut out 2 copies of each, making sure to flip the template over so I had a left and a right shoe. I cut those out with my X-Acto knife and then started off with my base, and I rubbed the edge with a little bit of water. It can take a little bit of finagling to get it to sit upright, but you're wrapping that longer piece around the base, just making sure that they meet at like the back side, not directly in the back, but just off to the side a bit, and then you're wrapping that strap around. If you find that you need some more support and it's just too floppy, you can add some tissue paper in there to help hold it up while it dries, or some saran wrap. I had some good luck the first time, it kept its shape pretty good, but don't be afraid to add the extra support if you need it. Once my 2 shoes were made and dried, I added them to the top of my cake, and I'm making 2 little teddy bear faces for each one. I placed those on the very front using a little bit of water, and then this was the final result, guys. I love this cake. I thought it turned out super cute. I really hope you like it. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel for new videos every week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.